The sun hung low in the sky, casting a dim orange haze across the battlefield as Sergeant Cole Mercer tightened his grip on his rifle, sweat trickling down the back of his neck beneath the helmet. The mission had gone sideways hours ago. What was supposed to be a quick recon and extraction turned into a drawn-out skirmish when their position was ambushed near the valley ridge. The enemy had fallen back, but the damage was done. Their comms were half-fried, medevac delayed, and Private Lewis, barely 20, was lying unconscious with a piece of shrapnel embedded in his side. Cole had known Lewis since training, had watched him evolve from a jittery rookie into a quiet, dependable soldier with a ridiculous love for old music and terrible jokes. Now he was barely breathing, and every second mattered. The platoon had taken cover on a hill overlooking an open field, a deceptively calm expanse of patchy grass and scattered rocks that shimmered with heat. The field had once been a farmland, according to the locals, but now it was a death trap. A zone marked in red on every map they carried. Mined. The retreat had split the group, and in the chaos, Lewis had gone down near the middle of that cursed ground. From the ridge, Cole had seen him collapse, then not move. His first instinct was to run to him, but the lieutenant shouted him down. "That field's loaded," they warned. "One wrong step and you're gone." Cole didn't care. Not really. Orders were orders, but this wasn't just a soldier out there. That was his guy, his responsibility. And maybe it was the adrenaline, or maybe it was something deeper, but the moment he saw Lewis raise a weak hand, just barely, Cole was already moving. He left his rifle on the slope, took off everything that would jingle or catch, and moved forward, step by careful step into the open. The others went quiet. Every breath, every shift of wind, every heartbeat felt amplified. The silence was louder than the gunfire had been. The grass swayed around his boots as he walked, toes pressing down slowly before letting his full weight follow. He imagined the ground beneath, wires, pressure plates, the mechanical hunger of buried explosives that hadn't seen sunlight in years. Every step was a conversation with death. 20 meters in, he could see Lewis more clearly. The kid was pale, face coated in dirt and blood, lips parted in shallow breath. Cole whispered under his breath, counting steps, calculating weight shifts. He remembered training, diagrams, spacing of mines. None of it felt real out here. The distance was deceptive. Every step felt like an hour. Behind him, he knew the rest of the platoon was watching. No one dared speak. The sun dipped lower. Sweat dripped into his eyes. 10 meters left. Cole's leg cramped, but he didn't stop. He focused on Lewis's eyes, which fluttered weakly, unfocused. The kid didn't even know he was coming. Cole muttered, "Hold on, man. Just a little more," as if the words might reach him. At 5 meters, he felt something shift beneath his boot, a soft crunch. He froze. Breath held. The wind paused. His heartbeat pounded in his ears. Nothing. Just a brittle twig or a pebble. He exhaled, then crouched slowly beside Lewis. He spoke softly, trying to wake him. "Hey, buddy, I'm here. You're not alone." No response. But the rise and fall of his chest was still there, faint but present. Carefully, Cole slid one arm under Lewis's back, another under his knees. He didn't know the full extent of the injuries. Moving him could be dangerous, but staying meant death. He glanced at the field around him. There were no markers, no safe zones. The route back had to be exact, step for step. One wrong move now, with twice the weight, would be the end of both of them. He lifted Lewis gently, the boy's head resting against his shoulder. His legs were jelly. He closed his eyes for a second and mentally walked the path backward, every stone, every grass patch, every pressure point. Then he stepped. 1 foot, 2. He paused. The added weight changed everything. Each footstep needed twice the care now. From the hill, someone whispered something, a prayer maybe. Cole didn't hear it. His focus was absolute. He carried Lewis like glass, heart thudding with every inch gained. 20 meters back. 18. He felt the ground give slightly and froze. Waited. Nothing. He moved again. 16, 14. Sweat soaked his back, his arms, his boots. 10 meters. A breeze kicked up, rustling the grass like whispers of fate. Lewis coughed once, weak and dry. Still alive. 8 meters. Cole's arms were screaming now, but he didn't stop. 5, 4. He looked up. He could see the others, crouched just beyond the edge, eyes wide, frozen in fear and awe. 3 meters, then 2. And then he stepped past the final line, the safe zone. The platoon surged forward, medics grabbing Lewis from his arms, voices rising with urgent orders, hands pulling at Cole's shoulders to help him sit, breathe, stop shaking. He let them. His legs gave out. Someone put a canteen to his lips. Another shouted for a stretcher. Lewis was alive, unconscious but stable. Cole watched as they worked, a strange numbness settling over him, not from shock or fear, but from a realization so deep it hadn't fully hit yet. He had walked through death and brought someone back, not because of rank or orders, but because that's what soldiers do for each other. Behind him, the minefield shimmered under the last golden light of the day, silent again, holding its secrets and threats. But tonight, it hadn't claimed them. Not yet. They didn't speak to him right away, not the commanding officers, not the others, not even the medics once Lewis was stabilized and taken back behind the line for further treatment, as if there was something sacred about what had happened, something they didn't want to touch yet with words or questions or judgment. Cole sat on a crate near the edge of the makeshift outpost, his uniform still damp with sweat, dirt clinging to his arms, his boots stained from the treacherous walk through the minefield, and he just stared out at the empty field that had almost claimed him. He didn't blink much, didn't drink even when someone handed him a full bottle. He was locked in a silent loop of everything, every breath, every step, every subtle shift of the ground underfoot, every time Lewis's weight had almost slipped and Cole had caught him by instinct, heart pounding like a war drum inside his chest. He wasn't even sure it was bravery. It had felt more like necessity, something automatic, something built from years of discipline, responsibility, guilt, and an unspoken code between men who carried weapons and watched each other's backs through hell. Eventually, Lieutenant Sanders approached, tall and composed, his voice clipped and official, but his eyes unreadable. He stood beside Cole for a long moment before speaking. "You disobeyed direct orders," he said. No emotion, just the facts. Cole didn't answer. Sanders continued. "You entered a marked minefield alone. You endangered yourself and potentially compromised our position." Still nothing. "But," Sanders said, almost reluctant, "you saved his life. The medic said he wouldn't have made it another 20 minutes. Cole turned his head slightly, still not looking up, and said softly, "He raised his hand." Sanders paused. "What?" "Lewis," Cole murmured. "He raised his hand. I saw it. He wasn't dead. So I went." Sanders exhaled slowly. "You're lucky. Damn lucky. That field could have gone off under either of you. Do you realize what kind of message that sends to the rest of the men? What happens next time someone goes down in a red zone?" Cole didn't answer because he didn't know. He hadn't thought about what it might inspire or what it might break. He just knew he couldn't have stood on that hill and done nothing. Later that night, in the barracks tent, a few of the others sat around in silence, cleaning gear or pretending to sleep. No one brought it up directly, but their glances gave them away. Quiet nods, tired respect, uneasy awe. It wasn't the kind of thing you clapped for. It was the kind of thing that lodged in your gut and stayed there, reminding you of the line between duty and humanity. Corporal Jensen finally said it aloud, his voice low. "That was insane, man." Cole looked up. Jensen shook his head. "But I get it." That was all. No long speeches, no medals, just recognition. Word spread fast. Other platoons started hearing about it, turning the event into something larger, half legend, half whispered warning. Some said Cole had a map in his head. Others claimed he could sense where the mines were, like some sixth sense. But Cole knew the truth. There had been no sense, no map, just memory, just luck. Just the terrifying clarity of knowing what you're willing to risk when someone you care about is dying in front of you. The next morning, command called him in. A field officer from higher up had arrived, clipboard in hand, face like stone. They asked him to recount every movement, every decision, not to praise or reward, but to document, in case it needed to be evaluated for court-martial. He gave his account plainly. No embellishment, no heroics. When he finished, the officer tapped the clipboard and said, "You know this could have gone the other way. If that field had triggered, we'd be planning 2 funerals right now." Cole nodded. "But we're not." The officer didn't smile, just stood, said they'd be in touch, and walked out. For the rest of the week, Cole was kept off rotation. No patrols, no orders. He wasn't punished. The convoy moved out at dawn under a thin grey sky, a cold wind rolling in from the east as if the land itself was exhaling something heavy. Cole sat in the back of the lead transport, silent, his gear pressed against his legs, the vibration of the wheels humming through his boots. No one had spoken much since the last camp. Orders were given, followed, repeated. Their next objective was a small village nestled in the foothills. Rumors said it had been used as a weapons storage site, but no one really knew anymore. Information was thin, maps outdated, intel second-hand. As the vehicles bounced over uneven ground, Cole glanced at Lewis beside him, still bandaged, still pale, but insisting he was fit to return. Cole hadn't fought it. He understood the need to keep moving. Still, something about the new assignment unsettled him. Maybe it was the quiet. Maybe it was how calm everything felt, like a calm too careful to trust. When they reached the outskirts of the village, the buildings looked hollow, shells of stone and wood, some scorched, others eerily untouched. Lieutenant Sanders split the group in 2. Cole was assigned to a 3-man patrol with Jensen and a new guy, Ramirez, fresh out of supply duty and eager to prove himself. Their job was to sweep the northern edge and check for signs of activity. The ground here was uneven, a mix of rocky slopes and overgrown grass, with narrow alleys and broken fences marking the edges of properties long abandoned. They moved slow, checking each corner, watching each shadow. Then they heard it, a cry, faint, muffled, somewhere to the right. All 3 stopped. Cole raised his fist, signaling silence. The sound came again, closer this time. It wasn't in English. It was panicked, human. They followed it carefully until they came upon a partially collapsed house with a shattered doorway. Inside, beneath fallen beams, was a boy, no older than 12. His leg pinned under rubble, dust coating his face, eyes wide with terror. Cole lowered his weapon immediately and rushed in, assessing the debris. Jensen hesitated. "We don't know who else is here," he warned. Ramirez was already moving to help. Cole grabbed a support beam, looked at the angle of the weight, and carefully shifted part of it aside. The boy cried out in pain, but didn't fight them. There was no trap, no weapon, just a wounded child in the middle of a war zone. But then, just as they lifted the last piece, Cole spotted it, barely visible beneath the rubble, not even a full device, just a glint of metal and wiring beneath the floorboards. A pressure trigger. Booby trap. Probably set months ago. He froze, heart clenching. One wrong pull and the boy would be gone. Jensen saw it too and cursed. "We move him. We trigger it," he said. "It's not stable." Ramirez backed off, wide-eyed. Cole crouched again, studying the device, breathing slow. He looked at the boy, who had stopped crying, maybe sensing something was wrong. Then he looked at Jensen. "Get the others," Cole said. "Tell them we need ordnance." "They're 2 clicks back," Jensen replied. "By the time they get here—" "Just go," Cole snapped. "Now!" Jensen cursed again, but obeyed, disappearing down the alley. Ramirez stayed frozen at the doorway. Cole turned back to the boy. He didn't know the language, didn't need to. He kept his voice soft, hands visible, eyes calm. "We're gonna help," he said, "but you need to stay still." He reached into his pack slowly, pulling out a small scanner and a knife. If he could shift just the beam without touching the trigger plate. He didn't know. He just had to try. The boy's leg was swelling. Time was running out. He worked slowly, speaking under his breath, praying under it. Ramirez whispered from the doorway, "You sure about this?" Cole didn't answer. He shifted the beam. The rubble groaned. Nothing triggered. He shifted again. A click. He stopped breathing. The boy whimpered. Cole froze. Then he adjusted his grip, leaned into the weight, and with one last push, freed the leg. He didn't lift the boy. He didn't dare. Instead, he slid his arms beneath, cradled him with precision, and backed away step by step. Sweat poured into his eyes. Ramirez held the door open. One step. Two. He didn't think. Just felt. When they were finally outside, 30 feet clear of the doorway, Jensen returned, breathless. "Help's coming," he said, then saw the boy. Alive. Free. Cole collapsed to his knees. He hadn't realized he was shaking until now. Ramirez knelt beside him, stunned. "You weren't supposed to do that," he said. Cole stared at the sky. "I know."